So why? You really want to know? Rage. It filled me to the brim. I thought of nothing but how I could kill the despicable man who gave me love. I wanted to destroy the perfect monster. He was facing me, dark eyes widened. Without any weapons, I lunged at him. We rolled on the ground for a time, almost as if we were one. I pinned him to the ground and began punching him as hard as I could in the face. Over and over and over, I punched him. His face was bloody, his nose almost definitely broken. It was not enough for me. I kept punching him, and as I was beating this man, he smiled. His white teeth were soaked with red blood. This infuriated me even further. I began to not punch, but bash his face in. And so he laughed. And so I was scared. Killing this monster scared me more than anything, because I knew I had to. Only one more punch connected with his face before the door flung itself open and Hampton, followed by 12 policemen, rushed inside. I fought them. Of course I did. As scared as I was, that man needed to die. Wrestling with the policeman, I could feel my energy quickly growing. With an effort, I dragged myself away from the policeman and started back towards the killer. And it was then, as I was standing over his limp body, that I was tased. Those things hurt a hell of a lot more than you'd imagine. If he dies, you're going to prison. You know that, right, Davis? I was sitting in the interrogation room with Hampton in front of me. A single light hung above us, and it swung slightly. For some reason I could never figure out. The table that divided us, that is, me and Hampton, was made entirely of steel and was firmly rooted into the ground. The walls held the same shade of dull gray that the floor and ceiling had. I know how the law works, Hampton, I said. Hampton sighed and stared at me. I met his gaze midway. Well then, if you know that, then I guess you're free to go. Just keep in mind this man's health. Because if any time he croaks, it's your neck. You should get off easy, but it'd be better if you didn't have to go at all. I nodded and he nodded. Then we both got up and left the room. They had put me on temporary leave, but that was the same as firing me. Luckily for me, however, all the information to the case was still available, so I didn't have to leave what I was doing cold turkey. It was better than nothing. 2 days after the killer was put into ICU, the letter they found with Suzanne got back. Fingerprints were found, tracing themselves back to the man I had beaten near to death, maybe even all the way. They asked me if I wanted to read the letter. I told them to save it for me. 9 days after I beat the man, he died quietly in his hospital bed. No screaming, no pain. He just decided that enough was enough and left. I was sentenced to 2 years in prison. That was a year and 64 days ago. To keep me company, I was allowed the picture of Suzanne Thatcher and her letter. I've read it thousands of times. So many, in fact, that I can say it all from heart. It doesn't reveal how she dies, or why, but after reading it, I felt closer to her. At the very least, it has helped me realize my obsession. The letter says this: walking, running, skipping. The flowers are beautiful, and skipping through them fills me with joy. Each flower is a man, and each flower has blood on its hands, but skipping through them makes me happy. They are beautiful. I am one of the flowers, watching as I skip through them all. Everybody is skipping through them. Periodically, someone picks one up and I can't see them. But they are there. Everyone is always there. It rains tears and snows blood here. People are screaming as they are laughing. I pick up my own flower and I disappear, but stay. Suddenly I realize what everything is, and everything is heaven. I am and always will be in heaven, blood and all.